All right, let's wrap up for March 20th. It's Thursday. We are up $850, so that's good. That's a solid day of trading. I was down a few grand earlier, man. Jumped in too early on some stuff. Was trying to basically fade strength, short strength, which we did get this down move later in the day, with which the S&P is down like a quarter of a percent. Nasdaq's down 0.36 as we speak. It's actually 320 right now. The market's still open for 40 minutes, but I'll show you what messed me up. Like literally, I should be up 2 or 3 thousand minimum, but this is really what got me. So, and that's why you always got to go to the bigger time frames. This is the Nasdaq futures, by the way. And if we look, we opened right here, right about here, and we gapped down. This is the gap we needed to close, and I was thinking we'd get a pullback right off of that. But these are 15-minute bars, by the way. But when we didn't, there's time to get out. I should have just cut, because really the time to short was actually yesterday's high. Now we did spike when Jerome Powell was speaking a little through this, but if you see in the after hours session, you couldn't, or the market wouldn't go above, about 20,100 on the futures. And that's what we touched today. So that's the perfect short. And I'm not saying you would have ran it all the way down, but those are the entries. You would have never been down, because like usually if you get bad entries and you don't cut them and you're down thousands of dollars, you're not so your mind's more like, let me get back to break even, which obviously I did, and I ended up, getting up to 850, but it kind of messes up the mental aspect of the rest of the day, because there's some other setups in individual stocks that look good. A lot of them actually aligned with this, funny enough. Around here was when Palantir was around 90, which would have been a beautiful short. That's when Nvidia was 120. That's when, crazy enough, another play that messed me up was Meta, and I was trying to short it at 6, and then it ran up closer to 610, but then it got down to 590. So when you're a little bit early, if you don't cut enough, if you don't cut soon enough, that is, and when you could get biased when you think you have a good entry and you're like, no, it'll pull back. But see, it's better to cut, get back in, and see where you're at, and then you could, kind of ride those profits when you have a good position. But when you get in too early and you're too stubborn to cut early enough, it could really mess your day up. Now, in the past, I would have probably just ended the day down thousands of dollars, and a lot of people do that. But luckily, I could still, even though I didn't trade great today, I traded good enough where basically I pulled a profit. It's probably about one half or a third of the profit at most that I could have and should have had. But it's still actually a pretty good profit. It still hits my target of wanting to get at least 500 to 1,000 a day, but my goal is really 2,000 a day. And the way I traded today, like, I'm not going to hit that consistently. I'm not trading the way I need to in order to hit that. But gotta journal it down, gotta write it down, gotta go in the next day fresh with a clear head and remember the mistakes you made, and then try to make less of them the next day. It's a constant process, man. People who've been trading for 20 years, who've made millions of dollars, are still working on their trading, right? Because it's just like anything. You should always strive to improve. Like, I'm a martial artist, for example, and when people, if they don't take martial arts or don't train or don't really know martial arts, they just think a black belt. Oh, you're a black belt, you're done, you're good. It's like, no, black belt's really the beginning. That's when you really start kind of, you have an understanding, you start making things your own. That's when the real journey begins. You just got to go through those several years to get there, and then that's the real start. So, but trading's the same way, man. A lot of things in life, you got to have that what I call the white belt mentality. I don't care if you've been trading for 20 years and made millions of dollars. If you've been trading for 1 year and lost money, you should have that same white belt mentality of going there for the sole purpose of trying to improve in some way. So that's my tip of the day.